They say, true hell is when the person you are meets the person you could have been. Ever found yourself at a crossroads, realizing life took an unexpected turn from the path you envisioned for yourself a few years ago? Do you sometimes think that time passed by so fast, leaving you with only the lingering sense of not having fulfilled the grand aspirations you once had for yourself? Take a mental journey back 5 or 10 years to that version of yourself fueled by ambitious dreams of the future, the version of you who envisioned a successful you, wealthy, attractive, and satisfied. Now, stack that vision against your current reality. Is there a stark contrast between the two versions? Do you feel as if you've been stepping in place without moving ahead, while time unforgivingly moves forward, leaving you with the scars of unrealized dreams? It's almost as if your life's narrative, with you as the protagonist, has an unseen adversary orchestrating events from the shadows, a force keeping you from becoming the best version of yourself. This antagonist, this villain in your story, seems to be pulling strings to impede your progress. The feeling is pervasive, the notion that you are the hero in your tale, but there's an elusive enemy thwarting your journey. In this video, we'll unravel the mystery surrounding this adversary. We'll delve into who this enemy of yours is, strategize to overcome his malevolent influence, and pave the way for you to triumph and become the hero of your own story once and for all. It's time to identify, confront, and conquer the obstacles that have held you back, transforming your narrative into one of self-realization. As we envision yourself as the hero of your story, we must realize that the essence of a hero is inseparable from the existence of an enemy. This principle holds true across various genres, be it superheroes in comics, characters in movies, or ancient mythology. The dynamic of a virtuous protagonist necessitates the presence of an opposing force. Aspiring to be a hero implies embracing life's inherent challenges, which can be more difficult than anything else. But exactly in here lies an important lesson of every hero's journey. Suffering precedes success. As the wise Stoic philosopher Seneca once stated, to be able to endure adversity is the first art to be learned by those who aspire to power. Fire proves gold, adversity proves men. In the narrative of a hero, adversity is a constant companion and a prerequisite for eventual triumph. From Stoic wisdom, we can derive the fact that the hero evolves only through facing and dealing with hard times. Without that, he would be just an ordinary man. And if you keep that in mind, you are giving your suffering a higher meaning and a deeper sense. In this very moment, you might find yourself dwelling on thoughts like, "My girlfriend doesn't love me anymore. I'm financially strapped. I feel lonely. Life seems relentlessly challenging, and I'm in a constant struggle with everything." You could choose to wallow in self-pity and enact no change, or you could shift your perspective to proclaim, "Yet, I'm the hero of my story, and these difficulties are the tests and trials that pave the way for my superhero journey." Take the story of Perseus from Greek mythology as an example of this. Perseus was the son of the mighty god Zeus and the mortal woman named Danae. His mortal grandfather, King Acrisius of Argos, received a prophecy by the oracle of Delphi that his daughter Danae's son would one day kill him. To avoid this fate, Acrisius locked Danae and Perseus in a chest and cast them into the sea. They washed ashore on the island of Seriphos, where they were saved by a fisherman. On this island, Perseus grew up as a humble and seemingly ordinary young man. He had no superpowers, no godlike gifts, and no possessions to his name. The troubles for Perseus began when the king of Seriphos developed a romantic interest in Danae and sought to elegantly remove Perseus as an obstacle. The king devised a plan to send Perseus on a seemingly impossible quest to bring him the head of the Gorgon Medusa. Medusa was a fearsome creature with venomous snakes as hair and whose gaze turned people to stone. Perseus, at first, was terrified by this quest and the stories he had heard about the victims, and not certain at all if he should even try it. But he knew that this needed to be done. So he reminded himself that he was a demigod. Even if he had no godlike powers, he was sure that there is a part of him deep inside which is more than capable of dealing with this situation. That's why, always compared his fearful mortal side with the other side of him, the godlike side, which can achieve even the impossible. He thought of his godlike side as the one which has the answer to his struggle, which is not afraid, which seeks opportunities and ways to solve problems, which is strong and brave, the one side which always does what needs to be done and does not back down. So, he followed his mental call. As the Olympian gods saw Perseus's mentality shifting, they were proud of him and bestowed upon him various gifts. Athena gave him a polished shield that acted as a mirror, Hermes provided winged sandals for swift travel, and Hades gave him a helmet of invisibility. These divine gifts were things Perseus had earned with his courage and ambition. This is reminiscent of the wise words of Seneca: "Success is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." If Perseus wouldn't have been mentally prepared, the opportunity of the gods gifting him anything would not have shown itself, and the path to success would not have been paved. Using his mirrored shield to avoid looking directly at Medusa and the winged sandals to stay agile, Perseus managed to behead her in her cave. Perseus had transformed from a seemingly ordinary young man into a legendary hero, overcoming the sheer impossible task of slaying Medusa with the help of his mindset and the unfollowed help of destiny. Now, switching back from mythology to your personal story and your path, if you're struggling, think about Perseus's journey. Let his belief in his godlike side to be symbolic for the true potential that lies deep within yourself. Seeing your struggles as stepping stones to growth rather than obstacles is going to decide the kind of person you're going to be afterwards. You're either going to overcome yourself and be a superhero, or you're going to succumb to the villain and fail. But who is this villain in your story? Many folks tend to perceive their adversaries as entirely different individuals, often casting them as the antithesis of a hero. Consider this scenario. You find yourself at home, you haven't got much money left, and you're lonely and depressed. Then, in a moment of scrolling through social media, you encounter someone bragging with 5 luxury cars, surrounded by an entourage of attractive women, jet-setting across the globe anytime he wants. It's easy to feel envy or even hate at that moment towards that person, and to label them as your supposed villain, the embodiment of your negative emotions. In our common narrative, people frequently gaze upon those who possess all the trappings of happiness and success with the bitter taste of envy. These seemingly fortunate individuals become the perceived villains, possessing everything one wishes for. However, it's crucial to recognize that not all villains fit this specific mold. Consider those born into millionaire families, endowed with striking looks and effortlessly maintaining a great physical shape with six-pack abs. Some individuals simply find themselves in incredibly fortunate circumstances, most of which are beyond their control. Each person navigates a unique set of conditions, possessing certain advantages that others may lack, and vice versa. Engaging in a hero versus villain mentality, comparing yourself to others, becomes counterproductive and insignificant in a landscape where the playing field is far from level. Some people are not blessed from birth by the heavens, maybe even the opposite. The Stoic sage Seneca emphasizes this in a nice way. The thing that matters is not what you bear, but how you bear it. Hence, your nemesis isn't an external entity. It's a creation born from the depths of your thoughts and experiences. This villain is a product of your own crafting, strategically designed to compete against and to become the most formidable hero imaginable. Interestingly, this adversary isn't a distant figure but a virtual mirror image of yourself, a clone with an added twist, possessing attributes and accomplishments that you already have inside you but do not yet show. He is the person who started years ago consistently doing all the things that you knew you should have done, and now is in every aspect of life in a far better position than you are. Your nemesis embodies all that you have ever aspired to be. He encapsulates every goal, every quality you could have conquered thus far, every endeavor you might have pursued, but opted for comfort and wasting your time instead. He is the one who 5 years ago started training 5 times a week without giving up, and now has the athletic body you always desired. He is the one who 5 years ago decided to learn Spanish and sacrificed half an hour each day consistently and is now fluent. The one who 5 years ago didn't even know how to develop a website and forget this skill, which he now uses as a side hustle. He is the person who 5 years ago decided to end his loneliness and to actively engage more in his social life, and is now so charismatic that people are magically drawn to him. A ripped, multilingual, affluent, well-cultivated, intelligent, and universally adored clone of yourself. The life of every party, effortlessly charming, endlessly curious, and relentless in the pursuit of self-improvement. This is your self-constructed villain, the one and only person you have to compete against. Regardless of daily feelings, work stress, or circumstances, this individual consistently pursues what needs to be done. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "To live a life of virtue, you have to become consistent, even when it isn't convenient, comfortable, or easy." Picture your villain as someone who hits the gym unfailingly, irrespective of his mood or motivation that day. He's the one who fearlessly approaches every attractive woman he desires, expressing admiration without hesitation. He's the person who confidently requests a raise at work without fearing his boss's reaction. Your antagonist is the embodiment of unwavering determination to follow through on personal desires, undeterred by emotions, lack of motivation, shyness, or external pressures. Everything you could have been now if only you had stayed committed. But it's not too late. So, how can you beat this enemy of yours? Challenge yourself to compile a list of actions you'd take if you were him and lived as your best self, doing everything you truly needed to get done. You should sit there and say to yourself, if I did everything I needed to do, if I were to compete against the best version of myself, what would I do in every given situation? You might start with the early morning and say, well, if I were him, I would stop hitting the snooze button 5 times in the morning. I'd get up at 6 a.m. and I'd go to the gym every day. I should do as him and confidently approach and connect with appealing people in my day-to-day life, not sitting still in a corner. I should spend less time scrolling through funny animal memes and should teach myself new skills and read books which broaden my horizon, or maybe even start a side business with the new skills I learn. Because this is what he is doing, my enemy, and I want to beat him at his own game. In this list of yours, write on the left side each activity you are engaging in, take it with you everywhere you go and fill it with information. On the right side, you then write all the things your enemy would do instead, and how he would go through his day. But then when you look at the right side of the list, you might get demotivated and say, I don't even have the time to do all this stuff. But guess what? Your enemy, he finds time. And if not, then he makes time. As Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic emperor, once put it down, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your enemy doesn't binge-watch Netflix or scroll through mindless social media threads forever. He doesn't waste his time. He uses it. Take note of these aspirations and feed the potential within yourself to materialize your desires. Marcus Aurelius, millennia ago, also found the perfect mindset switch in this situation. He wrote, "Think of all the years passed by in which you said to yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, and how the gods have again and again granted you periods of grace of which you have not used for yourself. It is time to realize that you are a member of the universe, that you are born of nature itself, and to know that a limit has been set to your time. That's why use every moment wisely to perceive your inner refulgence, or it will be gone and never more within your reach. Crafting your arch-nemesis, your personal adversary in this transformative journey, demands more effort than just a mere list. It's a blueprint of the person you could have been right now, but through the cumulative consequences of your actions or inactions in your past, you chose not to be, and now you're challenging yourself to become. It's a detailed psychological exploration of all your daily activities you go through, or you wished you'd go through, every minute of your day. Every facet that defines that other version of you, the one you aspire to transcend. Envision standing side by side with this person. Picture a scenario where you're next to him, just acting and talking. Consider who would gain more admiration and desire. And yet, remarkably, this person is none other than you. You who a few years ago took a slightly different life path and perspective. Everything he has achieved is in your cards too. It's you, a version that consistently does what's necessary, driven by a Stoic mindset. The real magic happens when you start comparing yourself to this imagined rival across all dimensions. During the first time in this transformation, you shouldn't be able to take even one step without thinking about your enemy. Every time you do something, you must ask yourself, what would he do now in this situation? If you want to sit on the couch and chill, you think of him. Would he do the same now, or would he do something more productive? If you think you are a little tired and don't feel like going to the gym now, he would have already been out of the house and hitting the chest press. If you feel like scrolling for an hour through cat videos on social media, he would have learned 10 new phrases in Mandarin. By visualizing this consistently every day in each small endeavor of yours, subconsciously after time passes, you will start automatically to think and behave like your superior iteration of yourself. And after a while, you will ultimately become him. Many people lack this advantage of a mindset containing a personal adversary. Instead, they either look up to incomparable figures like Hollywood actors or musicians, figures that don't truly motivate or help. Or they give up developing and exist in a comfort zone, with a supportive circle echoing only affirmations. However, this comfort can breed complacency, turning individuals into people who don't want to step out of their camouflage. Like zebras trying to hide themselves among the herd with their stripes, building this enemy, from its inception to its detailed characteristics, is a demanding exercise. Be aware, in your journey within yourself, you might have to fight many deep emotions. You will encounter regret, anger, sadness, or even hate. Don't view them as being negative, but take them with you as companions, control them, and let them be the fuel for your motivation. As the Stoics say, a weak man is a slave to his emotions, a strong man their master. This is the crux of it all. Feel free to share your list in the comments below and to compare with each other, ensuring no crucial element is overlooked. This process is a reference point that will guide and motivate you. Once you truly understand and create this person, realizing that it could be a heightened version of yourself right now, it becomes significantly harder for external factors to impede your progress. This mental construct becomes a powerful shield against complacency, pushing you to consistently do what is necessary for showing your true potential, and keep the following Stoic saying as your mantra: no matter what happens, it is within my power to turn it to my advantage.